In the city here of Minnesota, you guys have gave us somebody special. I want to do a small tribute to him like this.
Amazing.
In 1958, there was a man who was born who would grow to be great and inspire women and children in every creed, color, or race across the world, starting in the 52 states. There was no instrument he couldn't conquer. Multi-races of pretty women he was fond of, but he still had to die like Apollonia, go take a jump into Lake Minnetonka. The music he would conjure would inspire multi-genres, and when Warner Brothers wouldn't honor his expression, he dropped him as a sponsor, representing himself with a sign, because they tried to bind him to a bad deal that was signed. And when the term ended, they tried to manipulate and stipulate more time, as if Prince was blind. Nah, this man was a genius, he wasn't stupid. Instead of being conducive, he refused to give in to their demands, and then he redefined how we all sell music. And to this day, we still use it. Attaching albums to Ticketmaster, direct-to-consumer, product masher. We constant goers get the gold. And get your hands on the music faster. He supported the arts. That's why he built Paisley Park. A location where minded artists can meet, talk together heart to heart. In fact, they can spark light in the dark. He was a Noah, and his home was like an ark, where we learn when doves cry. Instead of being scandalous, we truly adore our women to make our love fly, 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 fly. The ease light daily pain. See, sometimes it snows in April. Sometimes Mayflowers need to be showered with purple rain. Sometimes it takes a prince to ascend, transcend time, change the culture over. And we want to thank y'all, Minnesota, for giving us Prince. Rest in peace, Prince. Special. Tell me to the bridge on that. Wow. Y'all know it. That was beautiful, man. Let's go. How about this? Put your hands in the air like this. We go from side to side. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Don't be shy. Let me hear y'all. Matter of fact, take two hands in the sky like this. Rest in peace. Thank you, Minnesota. Prince forever.
That was the one and only RZA.
Yes.
Doing a 3-minute tribute to the late great Prince Rogers Nelson. I was surprised. I saw that clip pop up on Twitter and I was like, what is going on? Hey, listen, we normally start our pre-show a little bit earlier. We only got about 4 minutes here to do a little pre-show to say hello to everybody, kind of get everybody situated. We will see what is going on here.
Yes.
Andre from Canada has been on since he's been waiting for the show to start since 4:20.
It's like he slept here.
Yeah, and he had to drop in at 4:20.
Just, and then that's not an accident. It's just
he's like, I'm gonna log in at 4:20 and go.
Yeah.
Shelby, hey, what's going on? Susie, Lisa, what is going on?
Anita, what's up? Detroit.
Steph, I always thought, oh man, I wish I had like a mirror. You remember that? What was that kid show? That woman that used to hold up the mirror and be like, "I see Susie."
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
What was that show?
What a flashback! We need to hold that. We need to make that image happen while we're talking to him.
The 70s. Oh yeah, it's like all the stuff that was on TV back then is just would not fly now. It's just crazy. I mean, some of the stuff. But yeah, she was like, "I see Susie," and that bitch never called my name. Do you ever know that? I have a common name. Christopher is a common name. Never called me once. I would watch everything. I would go, call my name.
Hey, I never heard Jeff.
He does.
I never heard Jeff Page. I never heard nothing like that.
But anyways, yes, we've got the very, very talented man, guys, a legend, definitely in Minneapolis area and just in LA now. He's just got his talents all over the place now. Got the amazing David T.C. Ellis in the house tonight. We're doing a show especially on Monday night. He was kind of wrapped up a little bit for Tuesday night, so we kind of made a little bit of accommodation. We're doing it on tonight, Monday night. Getting closer. We got
and you know, we only do that for people we like.
We don't like you, we're just not going to do the show.
That's right.
Oh man, we're kind of booked up right now. Sorry about that, man.
Oh darn.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that, we got and next week we're also doing a show on Monday. Next week we have Maite going to be in the house on Monday night, and Tuesday night we're doing a Diamonds and Pearls special celebration special to kind of get a little bit more hyped up for the release of the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe box set. That's going to be coming. Was it 20? I don't know what the release date on that is, but it's like the 20 something or others. And so we're going to have Tony M from the New Power Generation, Scott McCullough, who did a bunch of all the videos. We're going to have Robia Scott, who was Pearl from Diamond and Pearl. And also, we've got to tell you this. There is a interview that's coming that we're doing on Wednesday.
Yes.
This Wednesday coming up. It's going to be a short interview. We're only clocked for like 15 to 30 minutes or something like that. So it'll be a short interview, but we're not going to be doing it live. We're going to be pre-recording it and then posting it out there because it's 15-minute window is just too small. But this Wednesday, we're going to be interviewing Macy Gray. Macy Gray is going to be here on Funkatopia Live this Wednesday. So get ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got this just crazy.
It's exciting. Yeah. So let me just say, everybody, thank you. And again, as you know, it's the pre-show and we're already at time and get ready to go into the show. And this, Mr. Christopher, did you notice that right away, immediately they started calling out, shouting at their neighborhoods? And this was the one time where we're running short and we can't call out your places, man. Finally, you guys do it. we can't shout you out yet.
Lisa says the chick with lamb chop. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't lamb chop. Lamb
chop was the
50s and 60s with the crocheted lamb. No, romper room, Joni. That's right. Romper room, I think is what it was.
I don't know. Well, it might have been the same lady. Maybe that was before she adopted a fake sheep.
All right, here we go. We are at the 8 o'clock hour, so we're gonna go ahead and minimize ourselves. You know how this works. We're gonna start the official show. The reason why we do this pre-show for those who are brand new is so that we can kind of get you in, get you situated, and just kind of enjoy the time. And then we start the official show. It makes editing a lot easier too. We don't have to edit this out. So, all right, 15 seconds, and we'll start right in it. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere. Here we go. To Funkatopia, everybody. Look, and I got TC Ellis here instead of Jeff Page. Hold on, Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Jeff is in the green room, and all right.
What are you trying to say? We all look alike. I mean,
don't even start this. No. We're not starting off the show like this. That's not happening. Ladies and gentlemen, WTF, welcome to Funkatopia. You know how we do. And man, I am very, very honored. We are very, very honored. Jeff wasn't here, so I just took all the honor upon myself to bring on the illustrious David T.C. Ellis in the house. What's going on?
Hey.
Are you feeling all right?
Man, I'm super blessed.
All right, well, that's good.
Awesome.
That's all.
Definitely.
Well,
Awesome.
as many of you know, some of you may not have even known TC, but he was actually, you may have, the first time many of you even laid eyes on him was at Graffiti Bridge in the movie Graffiti Bridge, and he also did some lines in New Power Generation Part 2. But there was a lot of stuff going on, and of course he had the solo album True Confessions that was released with Paisley Park Records. We're going to talk about all this stuff, but there's so much more that's going on, and man, it is an honor to have you.
Yes.
You had a really busy day today. I mean, I think you were running around all day today. What was on your schedule? You were just
Well, actually, I was supposed to be in Cleveland at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I had a little bump in the schedule, and so I ended up staying in Minneapolis, and I'm thankful to be here. It was a lot, just a lot of work, moving around the studio and dealing with the High School for Recording Arts and Studio 4, all that stuff.
Yeah, I cannot wait to kind of get some more information and share some information about Studio 4, because there is some really, really cool stuff going on with Studio 4, which is a studio that you set up, started in Minneapolis area, or was it the Minneapolis area, Twin Cities area?
Yeah, well, officially it started in downtown St. Paul.
Okay.
But I've always looked at Minneapolis and St. Paul as the Twin Cities. That's been my turf my whole life. So it's kind of like the same thing to me.
Yeah. Well, that's, there is a lot of history in Minnesota. I especially in that area, when you talk about St. Paul, when you talk about Minneapolis, and just that there was a lot going on. And I want to kind of take it back to, let's just say, the 70s era of Minneapolis and everything that was going on pre Prince's breakout, because I think once Prince broke out in we're trying not to make this too much about Prince, but he was a pretty historical part of your trajectory.
Yes, sir.
But as far as Minneapolis was concerned, I think, and I didn't live in Minneapolis at the time, but I can only imagine that once he broke and things like Controversy and Dirty Mind in 1999 really started to gain momentum on a national scale and an international scale, it really probably drastically changed the music scene in Minneapolis. And everybody was just kind of like, oh, what's happening here? So before that point, let's talk a little bit about what Minneapolis was like in the 70s. I mean, what was the vibe like? I mean, as far as the music industry was concerned, and just any of that.
Well, it was an amazing place to grow up and see the music develop. There was they had the Show Pushers, which was a local band that was, kind of like the Dramatics. They had Bobby Lyle, Billy Holloman, Willie Weeks, all the greats. I mean, cats that were just amazingly talented, and they were playing at local spots around St. Paul, Minneapolis. And being a younger cat growing up, one of my best friend, his mother, she was the owner of the Ebony Lounge, which was where Willie Weeks played, and Bobby Lyle and all them cats. So she would give us a job checking coats, and so we got to see the music, in full effect, and it just blew us away, man. It was incredible. Midwest Express was another band that came out early in my, growing up. These were groups that, along with there was another group called Purple Haze, who eventually became known as Haze, and they were just another amazing group. There was just talent everywhere. The Family in Minneapolis, just the Lewis brothers, the Lewis Connection.
Yeah, I remember Lewis Connection. I remember that.
Yeah, so it was great.
Wow.
I was trying to think of all those bands. There was one that there was another band that was out there that rivaled the time. Very, very similar to the time there was like so many bands that were like, it was just like that sound in that.
Yeah. Yes.
In that. So
yes,
man,
indeed.
yeah, and I also know that there was a lot of, I guess not necessarily, it was just a very, very charged time as far as I think I remember just like a lot of gangs and stuff like that.
St. Paul.
Yeah, I was a roadie for the fam for I'm trying to think of the band. I think it was the Family. Yeah. The original Family band that Pierre Lewis was in, and Sonny Thompson, he played the bass. And I had a van. I used to haul around that Hammond B3 and the Leslie and get them set up. We go to Wisconsin or wherever, and they were doing their thing. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I go back, to the beginning of that kind of like, during Prince's era, right when he was coming out, he was in Grand Central, and the first time I ever seen Grand Central, first time I ever saw Grand Central was on Nicollet Mall. They played on the Nicollet Mall, and it was amazing.
Yeah, back in that's even before the Peppy Willie days, I would imagine. So somewhere,
little bit, yep.
Right in there.
Peppy was right on the cusp of all of that. That was when Prince was kind of staying over at Andre's house in North Minneapolis a lot, and Grand Central. Morris was playing the drums, and Prince was on the guitar, and Andre Simone, his sister, played the organ, the keyboard, the farfisa.
Wow.
She had an old farfisa. What was new then, but it,
right
now.
So while you were seeing these guys and watching these guys perform, and especially getting a roadie gig, well, how did that affect you and the things you started to do or were trying to do or get involved in, career wise?
Well, all of that was happening before I had really got into hip hop even. Well, I played the drums, and I used to play with Tony Walker, who ended up being Lettucey's music director. He's out in the Washington D.C. area, but his father is a legend, Carl Walker, who he's a Reverend Carl Walker. He's a keyboard player. He's just amazing, and Tony is equally amazing. He's been just doing the music business kind of like low key though. A lot of people don't know about him, but he's like all that. And so I grew up playing with him and Andre Lewis and Pierre Lewis. Those guys, we all lived around each other. We used to rehearse playing Tony Walker's living room. His dad would come home and bump him off the Hammond and get on there and jam with us. And those, those were just times of nostalgia that you don't even realize you're living in until later, Yeah.
Right. It's just, you're just going at that time. And then now you reflect and you go, wow, that was special.
So then after that, the Lewis connection, they got the two brothers, they were phenomenal talents, the guitar, one played the keyboards, the other one played the guitar, but they both could play the keyboards. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first professional recording that I know Prince was on. And that was the Lewis connection. He just played the guitar on that track. He appeared on that.
What's the name of that? Got to Be Something Here. That was the song that I remember from the Lewis connection.
Is that it? Got to Be Something Here? Yeah.
Great track. I'll have to see if I can find that. That's they were just really definitely more pop. And I think what I find really interesting, even those early Prince days before he even got tied up with Pepe Willie, there was so much that he was doing that a lot of people don't know about this. I was just, and I totally forgot this, but I was re-listening to an interview that I did with Chris Moon. And Chris said that he had gotten Prince hired to do like a bunch of commercials for this furniture store or something. I said, are you telling me that there are commercials, furniture store commercials with Prince playing the jingle already? He's like, yep, there's like, he did like about 5 or 6 of them. I was like, we got to be able to find these commercials somewhere.
Got to find this somewhere.
Must be somewhere. You know, Chris Moon, he was a real entrepreneur in the community, and he kind of really opened up his space and let Prince do his thing. So, but I was lucky to know Chris Moon also. John Rivers, he did a lot of work with Chris Moon, and he was one of the first cats that really was playing with Alexander O'Neal. And that all came out of that timeline.
Well, how close were you to Alexander O'Neal? Are you guys really good friends? Or
yeah, I know Alex very well. I mean, shit, we ran the street together in St. Paul, in Minneapolis. He lived in St. Paul, right around the corner from me. And my younger sister Suanne, she used to sing with him out and about. But you know, me and Alex, we used to get into things, you know. Oh, Blue Velvet. Is that Blue Velvet? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about Suanne. I got
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I knew Alex, man. He was a dear friend of mine. We were very close, and still are. You know, whenever I see him, it's nothing but love.
Did you ever hear the story of, I mean, obviously for the newer Prince fans that are here, a lot of people didn't know this, but Alexander O'Neal was supposed to be the lead man for.
Oh yeah.
And I know that there was like a bunch of things that kind of shook out. I guess he may have asked for a little bit too much in the beginning or whatever to try to, you know, settle into the deal or whatever. Right. But did you ever talk with him one-on-one about what all went down there? Like, you know, did he feel like that was a missed opportunity, or it just wasn't for him, or what was his feelings on that? Or do you even know?
I don't know, but I'm just assuming from what I do know is, you know, there was no regrets. I mean, he had Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know, putting it down for him. You know, you couldn't, during that time, you couldn't do much better than that. I mean, they were hit making, and Alexander was a phenomenal voice. Yeah, I mean, he could sing like nobody's business. I think one of the most underrated, you know, singer crooners of all time. I mean, I've watched, one time I opened for Alexander at Rupert's Club.
Wow.
And shit, man, he sang that night. I got the goosebumps. He tore that place up. He lit that joint up, man. It was crazy. Yeah. And just an amazing brother, you know. Me and him go way back. You know,
yeah, we listened to all his music, and he was killing it with Sherelle. So it was like, I was like the ultimate combo between them two.
Yes,
Fake was probably one of my favorite songs back in the day. I just Fake.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, them funk tracks were amazing, but then you know his ballads, were really just, you know. I think he was right up there, like with Luther Vandross or you know, Freddie Jackson. I mean, he was, you know, A Broken Heart Can Mend. You know, all those songs that were just like phenomenally melodic and just beautiful, and his voice just, you know, carried it all the way through. You know, you hear this brother sing live with no auto-tune, nothing, just pure Alexander killing it. You know, and so I just love that. You know, that was just an amazing time and era for Minneapolis, and you know, for him, for this whole community.
Yeah, He had that power voice. That's what I liked about him the most. He could just let it out. It was like, man.
And the other thing was he was he was just a man singer. You know what I
Right.
mean? He was like, it wasn't no sweetness in the game. He just, he got sweet with it, but he was just, bringing it all the way, alpha male.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, Diane says that he's really big in England, and I don't know that he's really doing too much anymore. Is he still doing a lot of performing? I thought he was on like a final tour or something. Is the last thing I heard. I don't know what the truth of that is.
I don't know if he's doing a lot, but I know he's doing some appearances here and there. The last time I was coming from London last summer, we were on the plane together, and we flew back. We flew back from London, and it was just a coincidence. He happened to be on the same plane I was on, and he was coming to Minnesota. I think he did a show at the Jazz Dakota, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely tearing that up for sure.
Yeah, he's no joke. He still can blow his ass off.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah.
And I see some questions kind of going through here. I know P Funk is asking about the cover of Atomic Dog that you and Prince covered, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that stuff. We're kind of going in a chronological order, so I want to kind of stay the course. But
yeah, that's cool.
You mentioned something about your sister, Suanne Carwell. And I'm sorry, Jeff Page, I skipped over your question, but we're going to
No, go ahead.
Suanne. And I got to ask now, Suanne used to do, she did so much with Prince in those early days, especially 83 and before. There was just a lot going on. I'm curious, and obviously with this being your sister, maybe you have a little bit of insight with it. Why didn't Prince ever really kind of officially release anything with Suanne? I know that Enterprise, which is a band she was working with, opened up some shows during the Controversy tour. And she also did some vocals on some of the time tracks like Get It Up, and did background vocals on Still Waiting. And she had like a bunch of different things. She actually a single that was released and whatever. But so we know that Prince liked her. But whatever, why didn't everything come to fruition with her?
Well, it was I think I know, but there was some politics going on. They had Prince and Suanne had the same management, and I think that
really?
Some of the dynamics going on at the time were I think that the management company was kind of trying to dual track her because they signed her on Warner Brothers right behind Prince. And so there was some dynamics with that because Prince was like, no, that's my artist. And he wanted her to come up under him, up under his production and all of that. And then I know at one point he had produced some demos for her and had her thing going. And so they took it through. And at first, I guess Warner Brothers was like, well, it sounds just like Prince. What's the difference? And so they went ahead and started experimenting with like Pete Berlotti and some different producers in Tume, different people were tinkering with her sound. And then I think, shit just kind of one thing went one way and one thing went the other, but they still were friends. And I know Prince, he loved Suanne, he loved the way he loved her voice. And, he was in our life. He was our friend, but he just, after that situation, I think him and Suanne just kind of both went their own separate ways. And Prince ended up getting rid of his management that he had at the time. So, things kind of went different for a little while.
Yeah, I think, once Warner Brothers kind of came into the mix, it kind of definitely, because I know he did actually put an album together for her, or was starting to put an album together for her.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, he named her Susie Stone or something like that.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Something
so
like that, yeah.
it was like a whole thing. And
Yeah.
Make It Through the Storm, which ended up on it was like a single from that, but there was like just nothing that it was just surprising to me, because for those that don't know, this Suanne Carwell CD, which you can probably still find copies floating around here and about, called Blue Velvet, this was actually produced by Jesse Johnson.
Yes. Yeah, I think that was her. I bet that was maybe her second album or third album. I know she did 3 albums.
Yeah.
Altogether.
But I think it was kind of funny that, because I know that Prince was always just quietly in the background, kind of at odds with Jesse. He loved Jesse, he liked Jesse's guitar playing.
Yeah.
But he always kind of felt like there was always like a competition going on between those two.
Yeah.
Right. Or when it came to
Suanne brought Jesse up to Minneapolis to play with her. He was from down in the Quad City, Rock Island, Illinois.
That's right.
And she went down there to do something, and then Jesse ended up coming back up with her. She seen him down there playing the blues, and then he came up. I'm trying to think of the name of the band she was in then. But and her and Jesse are still like this. I mean, he did her last album too, Blues in My Sunshine.
Wow.
Did you ever heard that record?
No.
You never seen it?
I haven't. I haven't heard it.
I haven't heard it. I'm gonna be looking for it now.
I'm looking now.
Yeah. It's let me see where that. One of them up here. Oh boy. I thought
Man.
I had one.
About to show us something we haven't seen now.
Oh man, it's amazing. It's one of the baddest records ever. I mean,
I'll have to check it out. Absolutely.
Jesse, Jesse is I always say he's the grandson of Robert Johnson. The blues man. Jesse can play the blues like nobody alive today. I don't think. He's incredible. That brother ain't nothing nice when it comes to playing that guitar.
We just need new material from him. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, I think he'll be hearing something soon. I know he's working on stuff all the time. I talk to him here and there every now and then.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to kind of see how Jesse kind of tied himself with people that Prince was at odds with at some point in time, or that he didn't really kind of come through for in a lot of different ways. Like a lot of people feel like he didn't come through for Suanne, and Jesse kind of stepped in. When Wendy and Lisa got cut, Jesse stepped in, was doing work with Wendy and Lisa. It was like, it seems a little strategic thing going on.
Well, I mean, Jesse did Janet Jackson's first record.
Right.
I mean,
odds thing there too, because Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Prince kind of felt like the Minneapolis sound was passed on via Jam and Lewis, and he was not. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
I think Jesse did wonderful things. That's the thing. Like he stepped up and took care of those people that were moving on. You know what I mean? He was doing his thing for sure.
Yeah, Margie Cox.
It just getting back when you were talking about Suanne, I always tell this story because it was so funny back then. Just the mindset and how I thought. So Suanne comes home one day. She got this cassette, and she lets me hear it. She says, "Check this out. I did this in the studio with Prince," and it says, "Get it up, I'll fuck you all night. Get it up, get it up, I'll fuck you all night." Right? And I was like, the first thing that came in my mind, I was like, you can't say that on the radio. Like you can't say that in a record. And she was like, well, I don't know, but this is it. I was hearing it. And so anyway, later on, it was funny because, maybe a while later, I heard that same song she did on the time. It was Get It Up, I'll funk you all night, but just, all the time she would come home and have different demo tapes and stuff they were working on. It was just like, when I think back to that era, I'm like, it was so like nonchalant, just hearing what she was doing and not thinking of the magnitude of what she was doing and even who she was working with. It was just like, a new Prince. He'd come over the house and hang out and, be at our cookout in the backyard or something like that, right.
Was he eating burgers back then? He was eating burgers and ribs.
No, the funny thing about Prince was he kind of always stood to his own. I remember us having a cookout, and so I come in the house. We had a back door in our house, so I come in the house, and Prince is sitting in there at the kitchen table. My mom's doing dishes, and he's talking to her, and so that just kind of clicked me out. I'm like, everybody's out in the backyard talking shit, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and he was chilling in the kitchen, talking to my mother. So, it's like that. He's always been kind of,
hey, he's hanging where the real knowledge is.
Yeah, he's finding out what the deal was, right?
Yeah, well, as I can tell you, Prince was always doing his own thing, and he was definitely always a ladies' man. But yeah, I just find that whole, clash between him and Jesse just so interesting to me. Just because it was just this quiet battle that was always just kind of in the. And I'm not gonna lie, and I think I told you this, TC, when we were talking before. I said. I had a pink suit, and I did not have a pink suit because of Prince. I had a pink suit because of Jesse Johnson.
Yeah,
I was not able to pull it off as well as Jesse, obviously, right. But there was a time where I felt like Jesse really kind of I just kind of felt like he outfunked Prince in a lot of different ways, especially during the review time. Oh my gosh, Jesse review. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that album was it was so raw and clean and dirty and imperfect. Just like, this is just freaking Be Your Man. I mean, that whole Can You Help Me? I'm just thinking about all the I have every single 12-inch with the exception of this one that I just had gotten. This was one that I hadn't even seen before. I did not have this one. I didn't even know this one existed because I have every single 12-inch the man has ever released. And I saw this like, oh my God. But yeah, there was a period of time where I just thought Jesse he was speaking to me more from the funk side, whereas Prince kind of was. Every single album from Prince has always been known for funk.
Yeah.
But if you listen to his albums, there's not like a whole bunch of funk there. There's always a lot of funk on it. He's always all over the place. I think 1999 was probably his funkiest album front to back, but he's always all over the place. And Jesse just kind of fed that funk thing that I really wanted.
Absolutely.
Who are some of your I guess people that were your go-tos for funk in general? I know you're friends with George Clinton, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, George was growing up. He was the funk master. He held the funk down tremendously, and I was blessed to be, introduced to him by Malia. Before it was almost like I got prepared to hang out with George before I even knew I was getting a record deal or anything. Malia Franklin had moved to St. Paul, and she was working with a lot of the musicians here and just putting together her funk thing, the queen of funk. And she just schooled me to who George was, how it all came about, how she introduced him to Bootsy Collins. And she was just the history, and she was also a networker. She connected and mentored a lot of funk musicians all over the world, and I was one of them. And without a doubt, of course, George. But I mean, I came up on the Herbie Hancock. That was the funk to me.
Yes.
Donald Byrd,
Headhunter.
Blackbirds. I came from that funk jazz fusion type of thing. So I was really into that, and I remember, hanging out with Prince. I had this big stereo system in my basement, and we would listen to some of the funk that we dug deep into that we liked a lot was Steely Dan.
Oh, yes.
It was just like
Give it for Steely Dan, man, because they had the funk tracks like the Fez. Oh my gosh, never do it without your pants on. I mean, there was like so much funk in Steely Dan that people just missed it.
Missed a lot of people missed it, but I didn't miss it. I mean, and I remember sitting there with Prince. We're listening to Asia. The album Asia, in my basement, and it's just those memories just blow me away when I think about the times that and the situations I've been in, with the music. Even with George Clinton, he was my most unbelievable rock and roll moment of all time. I used to hang out with George a lot, and we had a good relationship, and it was wild. It's a story I have to tell that another time. It's kind of deep. It's heavy. It's dope. So
I've got some George Clinton stories too.
Yeah.
He was always dogging on me. We had every time I ever got him, he just this has been a story I've told on here many a time, but I won't do it again. So, but George is the best, and he'll be the first to call you out.
Yeah. So at the time when I worked with George, I was like a go-between between George and Prince. Prince would load me up with the 2 inches, the 24 tracks, and I would fly out to Detroit. And I'd stay out there for a week or two, and George would be working on Soul Psychedelicide and a lot of different stuff that they were preparing before the Graffiti Bridge movie.
Right.
So I was able to get get real close with George. Amp Fiddler was with him at the time.
Detroit boy.
Huh?
Detroit boy.
The Detroit boys. I mean, they were Steven, the lead singer of P-Funk, Stephen Boyd, all them cats, man. They just took me in, and Clip Payne, Boogie Bonson, all them cats. They just took me in and treated me like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? And just brought me into the funk. So I was right there with the whole get down. And I got super blessed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those guys like Amp Fiddler and stuff when we talk about True Confessions, because Amp Fiddler actually had his thumbprint on that album too. Yeah. And Amp Fiddler actually, a couple of his solo albums actually walked away with the best funk albums of 2020 or 2019. He's been on the best funk albums a couple of times on the Funkatopia list, because his stuff is just fantastic. It's really, really surprising that, he's not bigger than he is, because he is literal musical genius. Amp Fiddler is he's the pride of Detroit, man. But I got to ask you, because, you're not much of a singer, and you admittedly so, rap was kind of your thing where you kind of moved. I've heard you say before, when you kind of moved into the music industry part, you kind of, rap is going to be my spot, I think. And in the 70s, rap really hadn't hit that hard yet.
Right.
So, and you're starting to see Prince meet some success, and start to put Minneapolis on the map, and start thinking about your own success, because admittedly you're quite a bit of a hustler.
Right.
like all of us are. We all hustle in some
Yeah.
fashion. But how were you able, before rap had really kind of got its traction, how were you able to kind of find your spot in the music industry during that period of time? Were you just kind of like, where do I fit in? Get in where you fit in?
Well, it really wasn't so much of that as that, I had the bag, what all them cats was trying to get at.
Right.
I was the man. So they was calling me up. I was VIP guest at all the studios around town. And, that was just my life. You know what I'm saying? But of course, my little sister, she was singing, and I love music. I mean, that's my heart. And I grew up playing the drums. I grew up with the Lewis boys, and I was I was half-ass in a band, and I was half-ass growing up. So when the hip hop hit me, I didn't even know what was going on. I went to make a move. I went to see Alexander one night, and so I popped into the studio, and it was it's called Alexander's Playroom at the time on Selby Avenue in St. Paul. And so I go in there, and Joey Kareem and John Rivers and them. Joey was one of the original players of Flight Time, the original time, Flight Time before time, when they had Cynthia Johnson was singing, the girl who did Funky Town. She was in that band also, along with Terry Lewis and, Jelly Bean, all them cats was in that band. So anyway, I come down to the playroom, and I'm making a move with Alex, and they're showing me this new drum machine. They got this new Lynn drum machine, and they're hitting the buttons, and they're showing me how this thing works, how cool it is. And so, they were all hit the button, and then it would repeat. It would just keep doing whatever you put in there, right?
Right.
And so we're listening, and they got like the radio on is in the speakers in the studio. So this song comes on, Roxanne, 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 Roxanne. I want to be your man. You know what I'm saying? And so Roxanne is going at it. And so one of her girlfriend on the record said, he wanted me to meet him at the beach. And then her girlfriend said, did you meet him at the beach? And Roxanne said, hell no, in the middle of December when it's 30 below. And so for some reason,
Roxanne's Revenge.
That line offended me because I'm from Minnesota and it's cold all the time, right? And so when I heard that on the little speaker in the studio, I said, oh, she's talking shit because I ain't rapped to her yet. And so everybody was laughing. So I got on the drum machine. I went, doom, 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 and the beat just kept going. And then that was the beginning of my addictive career. I was like, here, give me some of that shit you all be smoking on, right? And I hit that shit, and I went to the microphone. I said, Minnesota, this is the state. I'm going to tell you a story, and I know it's not too late, about the Twin Town and who stays here. I'm sure you heard a lot, but I know it wasn't clear. I got a little rap, and I know it's right because I've been in the Twin Town all of my life. And so that was the beginning of the Twin City rap. And so, I go on to tell the story. I said, Prince and Andre Simone were the tightest of all when they played in Grand Central on the Nicollet Mall. Prince proved music wasn't art, as song after song started topping the chart. He helped out friends he knew along the way. He produced The Time, yes, Morris Day. The Time as a whole, unbelievably strong, till Jimmy Jam and Terry had wrote their own song. How did Prince feel? He said, hell no. So Jimmy Jam and Terry decided to go. They do well on their own, like you might guess. Check out Janet Jackson or SOS. Our city gained in popularity with the Prince found cutie known as Vanity. Now, I think that was really smart because Vanity's a real sweetheart. But Prince discovered a new raw queen and used her for his movie scene. But any couple like Taylor and Burton seldom takes a serious hurting. So Vanity jumped off of Prince's wagon to do her thing in The Last Dragon. But Prince expanded his music mix with 3 more Slims, Apollonia 6. He also starred as Sheila E., but she's not from the Twin City. See, all the women in the Twins are bad, so we don't need the real Roxanne. Roxanne, I don't want to be your man. I got a Twin City Slim, and her name is Suanne. Hey, don't get mad. Don't get me wrong, because Jesse Johnson sang that song. I wanna be your man, baby. Oh, oh, oh. Well, the time still kicked, by the way, until the departure of Morris Day. Morris Day liked to act a fool. Morris Day was the champ of cool. Loaded with talent, and that's a fact, or he wouldn't have been signing on the movie contracts. Another gained fame ever since he looked for a girl who's innocent. Alexander's his name, and he could blow. So I know he had to be good to go. So now you know without a doubt what the Twins are all about. So anytime you turn on the box, think about the talent Minnesota's got. From pole to pole and bay to bay, Prince in the time is number one to say. What can I say? Twin talent. So that was the Twin City rap. I went in there and me and my cousin, we popped that off, and that was in 1985.
All right.
That was in 85. And then I bugged Prince about the shit for years. So.
Look who is in the house. Suanne is in the house.
Suanne made it.
Little sis, what up?
Carwell's in the house. I told you, TC, when we talked earlier, I said, I want to have Suanne on the show. I said, please, please, please. I would love to get Suanne on the show. So, Suanne, please reach out to me. Funkatopia@gmail.com, please. I would love to have you on the show. I got this 100 questions or more.
That's
but
awesome.
Right now, man, I tell you what, the fact that you were able to commit so much of that rap in your head. I mean, I'm gonna hip hop is like one of my second favorite just genres to listen to, but it always amazes me that hip hop artists and rappers can remember such a high volume of music. It's not like a regular standard musician. A regular standard musician might have to remember 2 verses and a chorus and a bridge, whereas in a rap song, there can be like 3 or 4 pages or more of just, especially if you do something like Kendrick Lamar or something. Yeah. It's just like rapid fire.
Yes.
Or Ludacris. Some of that stuff with Ludacris is like a verse can be like 2 pages. It's just
Buster, man.
God,
oh man.
Yeah, Buster, forget it. Yeah. And back then it was Public Enemy.
Jeez. Yeah, oh my God. So who's the first rap? I know you mentioned Roxanne, but what was the first rap song that you kind of went into? Was like Sugar Hill Gang in that mix anywhere?
Yeah, I think it was Houdini. I liked Friends a lot. That one struck me hard. Houdini, and then of course Sugar Hill Gang. I mean, that was really the song that blew my mind. I had a friend. He went on a youth trip, and he went to, I think it was Chicago or New York, and he came back, and he told me, he said, "Man, I got this record. It's the best record I ever heard in my life." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Better than Herbie Hancock?" He was like, "Yeah." So we went in my room, we went in the basement, and he put the record on, and it was Rapper's Delight. I said, "Hippity hopper, you don't stop the rocket," and that blew my mind right there. I had never heard nothing like it, and it changed my life.
Wow.
So, that was where it all started.
Then you had Curtis Blow.
Yep.
Just all those guys, Curtis Blow, LL Cool J.
Yeah, LL Cool J.
Yeah.
The old school guys, man.
Hey, Too Short,
Too Short.
Too Short was a beast. He came out. I mean, them cats are just like phenomenal. E40. These dudes are like, getting up almost 60, and they still can make a hit.
Right.
That the kids will get on right now. Right. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah, up in Jersey and New York, we had, you had Red Alert and those guys that were out there. I mean, you never know how far some of these artists reach over the boundaries of the but man, so what was the first time that you sat down and you wrote a rap to paper and you're just like, you know, what was can you remember what your first rap was you ever sat down and wrote?
You just heard it.
That was it. Twin Cities.
That was it. It was the Twin Cities rap. And that was at the peak of the Minneapolis sound. I mean, but hip hop was right on its heels. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop was right behind that burst of creativity that was coming out of Minneapolis. So as a rapper, I looked at it as, you know, I was just breaking new turf. You know, I was really telling the story about what was going on in my neighborhood, in my hood, and that was the Twin Cities rap. Yeah.
Man,
that's dope.
Wow, that's just this is amazing kind of think about everything that you've been through because when you fast forward, and I know that it was really difficult when you were watching kind of Prince blow up before your eyes, and you're like, I've got something that I can bring to the table here, you know, that I think if you let me in, I think it would really work. Really, we can just, you know, we can do things, but that's kind of got to be frustrating because Prince has always been his own guy. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. Yeah. So, I mean, what is the story of you getting into Prince's ear and really just kind of just saying, you know?
Well, you know, I really looked at it as just building character and strength. You know, at the time, I didn't even see it as frustrating as I saw it as this is the inevitable. You know what I'm saying? So when of course, when I did the Twin Cities rap, you know, I was all over. I was trying to get across to Prince, and he was, nah, man, he wasn't trying to hear all that. And you know, he would tell me from time to time too, but I was pursuing him. And then when he was out, I would just start like rapping. You know, if I had another rap I had came up with, I'd start doing that. And so pretty soon it was like an ongoing joke, you know, everywhere Prince was. Because when I did that rap, the Twin Cities rap, I didn't get to Prince. 5 years went by. I was doing rap stuff all in between that time, but periodically I was pursuing Prince. And then when the Batman movie came out, you know, I thought that was a capitalization because I knew that it was a big hit movie. It was like the hype on the original Batman with Kim Basinger and Michael Keaton and all what's the guy's name? The Joker, Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
It was just the hype was incredible. So, and I was in Prince's Spear at the time too. So me and Miko, we were pretty good buddies, and he played the guitar for Prince, and so he was helping me with my rap. He was making some music for me and stuff. And so he would always tell me about the Batman project they were working on. And they would watch the dailies. They would send the dailies to Prince of how the movie looked and the stylization of it and what was going on. And so Miko, when me and him would work, he'd come back and tell me what he seen. You know, like the Batmobile, you know, this stuff. So, you know, so I did the rap about the Batman, that is the one in black, like a bat out of hell. He will reveal, screaming down the road in the Batmobile, heading for the crime, only to find nothing but a riddle. You know, a rhyme. And so I rushed that out and I pressed it and I put it out before the movie came out. And so Prince had Party Man or Bat Dance or something was out. And so the DJ, Q Bear, he would play my record and then he'd play Prince's record. And you know, he would be talking shit. He'd be like, who's the real Batman? You know, and so that gave me some hype. And so some other college radio stations were playing it. And then eventually Prince's brother told me, Dwayne, he told me, he said, David, Warner Brothers was asking about that record. You know, he said they was somehow, I guess they were asking Prince if he had something to do with it. And Prince denied it. You know, Prince used to do stuff in fake names and stuff. Like he had Jamie Starr and these little names he would use. And so I guess Warner Brothers thought he had something to do with the Bat Rap, my song. And so he denied it. And so then eventually that's when he called me up. Prince's brother told me Warner Brothers was saying, well, how does he know everything that's going to happen in the movie? You know, so they were giving Prince trouble. So then I guess Prince was like, let me get him before they find him.
Right.
And then he called me up on the phone, and that's when he was like, hey man, come out here, bring your shit out here to Paisley, man. We're gonna do something. So I went out there that first night. We cut True Confession, the one that ended up on my album.
Yeah,
that song also was in the movie soundtrack for Graffiti Bridge.
Yep, it was. We got a little image here from a Graffiti Bridge, but yes, insert. But yeah, I found what's really interesting is that True Confessions that was on your album, that came first before that rap snippet was used for New Power Generation Part 2 at the end of this.
Yeah, I had wrote True Confessions. I had wrote that song years before I even got to that place with Prince. You know, True Confession, that was a song that brought me into sobriety. Because I had been struggling with drugs, and I was in the street and just doing a lot of shit I had no business doing. And that song I wrote, and once I finished True Confession, I never went back to using drugs again. I've been sober ever since June 15th, 1988.
Wow.
Yep. So that was the time when I wrote that song.
23. That's just your 35-year anniversary, my friend.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been sober a long time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love the scene in where you're in Graffiti Bridge where what was it? Tick Tick Bang, I think he was performing. And then at the end of it, I told you, kid, should have let me rap.
He should have. No, but that too was a time when there was a lot of, that was really a kind of a Graffiti Bridge was really a special time for me, and I think the whole Minneapolis music community, because at that time, Jimmy Jam and Terry were formidable, competition for Prince at that time. And Jesse was still in the mix. And Prince, he brought everybody back to Paisley. So you had Jimmy Jam, Terry, Jesse Johnson, the whole original time, Jerome, Morse, the whole community was in the house. Everybody from the neighborhood. And then, it was magical for me because I got to be a part of that. I was there for that. And that was really Prince's movie right there. He really put his heart and soul into that.
How'd you feel about the end result?
Well, I felt really good about that gold record right there, which is now it's like 3 times platinum. So I mean, shit, I got paid. Everybody got paid. I mean, he made more money. He made more money off of the record than the movie. So, and I still get paid. You know what I mean? They played a movie. They played a movie on all those channels. They might play it 70 times in a month if they're doing a Prince thing or whatever. And then boom, here comes the check. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I love it. I love it. And the history of it also, that, like I said, that was for me, it's more than just the like a success of a hit song. That's kind of more like a commercial feeling of success than the success of being a part of something special. You know what I'm saying? Because everything I'm doing now, I was able to recreate my whole life and bring something back to my community and do something that's, you know, phenomenal. And it's all based and steeped in those relationships, you know, with my sister who had a relationship with Prince, you know, who had a relationship with Jesse, you know, Morris, all those guys from the time, everybody who I know, Jerome, George Clinton, it's just like the ripple effect. And so I'm like so thankful. I'm just like, wow, what an opportunity. Like I looked at your opening, you had James Brown, Prince, George Clinton, and I thought to myself, I've been in the presence of all those cats and have had a chance to, you know, chop it up with them. And that doesn't include
The wealth of Miles Davis.
Miles Davis. You know, I mean, I've been around and have had an opportunity to collaborate with the baddest motherfuckers in the world.
Right.
You know
Right.
These, you know, so I got the vapors of all that working with me, you know. So and then now I'm at home. I'm in a sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I just refied my building here. You know, I just did an $8 million deal on a studio. I got the best. I got probably the best studio in between New York and LA.
That's nice.
Okay.
All universal audio, everything. You know, it's an amazing place. And then I got 200 to 300 kids coming in, walking in off the street every day with the latest, greatest new talent. You know, they're putting stuff out all over the place. I had a viral phenomena, Smiley, Nimic Review, Mr. Franks. He just one of my kids who graduated from here. He did Ariana Grande's last album. Yeah, my school in California. You know, D Smoke, he was working there before he took off on Rhythm and Flow. I had Tyler, the Creator. He went to the school in California. So these are all kids that I've had a chance to, you know, spread the word.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Studio 4 because that, I mean, that's commendable what you were able to kind of do and kind of move from there. But you know, there's a couple things that I kind of wanted to talk about. I mean, let's talk about for a second the album that you did get released with Prince, which is True Confessions. So this is your only album, that correct? And why?
Well, you know, life just changed when I did that album that you're looking at. I was in the midst of Prince going through an enormous transition. So and then again, you know, I feel like I was a special friend to Prince because of the way he treated me. You know what I'm saying? So I did this album. I did the movie thing, and then lo and behold. So what let me give you the backstory. When we were doing Graffiti Bridge, Prince came to me and he asked me, because I hadn't signed any contract, but we already had an album in the can, that one right there, and I hadn't signed nothing to even be in the movie, but I had already done all the stuff. And so he came to me, he said, "Hey man, look, you gotta sign a contract, man." He said, "What's going on with you?" And so I was like, well, you know, I was negotiating, trying to figure out how to work with these CDs because, you know, they're only going to give you 8% off the CD, but they're going to give you 12% on the record. And I started talking all that mumbo jumbo, and Prince was like, man, fuck all that. He said, listen, he said, just go back. Don't worry about, he said, just tell them, because they had like 6 options. After this record, they had 6 options left. That was part of the deal. He said, tell them all you want is 3 guaranteed releases out of the 6 options, and you take all the standard stuff. I said, well, Prince, it says you can audit them if you're doing this. He said, dude, you're not auditing shit. He said, it takes money to audit them, and they got like 5 sets of books. He said, don't even worry about that. Just listen to what I'm telling you. And so that's what I did. I went back and I said, okay, just give me the standard, but all I'm asking for is 3 guarantees off of the 6 options. And so they came back, yeah, you know, everything was cool. So when that went in, and then after the movie was over and everything, that's when Prince went after that. Soon after that, he went through the transition of he didn't want to, he wanted his masters. He wrote Slave on his cheek. All that shit went down. And eventually Warner Brothers dropped him. And they dropped me too, because everything that was on his label was done. So, but the thing that saved me was those 3 guaranteed releases. Because they only had the one album to base it off of. So they had to pay me for all those records. And so instead of me trying to, you know, everything was in flux. I had got out there with Prince and everything, but I needed to keep that cash flow going. Yeah. So I went downtown. I opened a recording studio in downtown St. Paul, but it was on the Skywalk level. And all the kids that were ditching school kept walking around the Skywalk, and they kept congregating at my studio and saying, hey, man, let us do this, let us do that. And I was like, you know, I was blowing them off, like kind of like how Prince had did me. I was like, I'm busy, you know, I got clients and shit. And they was like, oh, man. So one day some clients didn't show up, and they called me out on it. They said, see, you said you had a client at 2:00. It's like 2:30. We could have made a hit. You know, and so then I was like, come on. I took them in the studio and threw the beat up, and they were like phenomenal. These kids were just like spitting shit. They were typing the shit in their phone and standing up and going in the booth and getting on the mic and start rapping immediately. Where with me, you know, I'd have to get the beat, listen to it for a few days, be trying to write some shit out and all that. And so then that blew my mind. So then from there, I was like, they wanted to know, how do you copyright? How do you publish? How do you do this? So I'm explaining to them, I'm like, you know, you got to go to the library, go to the government documents and get the PA or the SR, and you fill that out and then send it to, you know, you get the copyright from the Library of Congress. Well, what's the PA? What's the SR? I'm like, you know, performing art, sound recording. You know, so I'm teaching them how to do the business, and they're coming back to me with questions. They wanted to know everything I knew about the music business. And so then from there, I'm like, you know, why you guys ain't at school and shit? And they're like, oh man, they kicked us out. Man, they kicked me out of school. You know, they were like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to do their music. So that's where the ideal came from. I was like, okay, these kids, if you can do the stuff what I just showed them, you're already competent as a high school student. Right. I didn't learn none of that till I was 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? These kids were doing it. So that's where I got the ideal. And then I related it back to my own experience, because I had got kicked out of all the high schools in the St. Paul School District. And so I ended up at a school called St. Paul Open School. And they taught me about hands-on experiential learning, and that I was a different type of a learner, you know. And so I started to understand what education was and how I could use it for my benefit. And so then that transferred. I was like, this is me. all over again. And
Mhm.
so that's how Studio 4 created the High School for Recording Arts. But in the short range, I had came out of the contract with Warner Brothers and all that. And so I was like, this is really my life work.
Mhm.
Because when one of my kids graduated and their mom was there, their grandma was there, the dad was there, all these people were crying because his kid was getting a high school diploma
Right.
and they never thought he would graduate.
Right.
And then when I saw that, I was like, that shit made me feel better than being on stage with George Clinton and Prince.
Right.
I was like, this is my life work right here. And so then one thing led to another. I start building blocks, putting the deals together, and my higher power just lined up the moon and the stars, and here we are. This next weekend I have a conference. It's called Remixed, and it's a remix education. And I'm going to have people from all over the country are coming to Minnesota. They're going to be at High School for Recording Arts for MEA weekend. That's when all the teachers do their thing. And then I'm going to have the pre-conference day is going to be out at Paisley Park on the 18th. And Chris Emden, I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. Chris Emden. He's a Harvard professor, but he's hip hop, and he does all these physics projects with kids and using hip hop and all the stuff that I've been about since I've been doing this work. And so he's going to be there. I got Anthony Simmons, Michael Lipsick, my staff, my family, and it's going to be amazing, So so that's kind of like my answer to what happened. I mean, I just reinvented myself and went beyond the album, although I'm executive producer on like 9 albums that my kids have done at High School for Recording Arts. And we're going to have a 25th anniversary project that's going to be released next week for High School for Recording Arts with music that we've been doing for the past 25 years.
Wow.
Right.
So
Hip Hop High.
Yeah. Well, that's what one of the dudes called it, Hip Hop High.
Yeah.
They use that name too. And I did a deal with MTV. They did a pilot about it, and it's just been
On it,
an amazing journey.
is that out there? The MTV coverage?
Yeah, if you go on, it's a pilot. We didn't shoot the series. They wanted to do a series, but there was some snafus about that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna put an idea in your head, TC. Here's look. You think about these reality shows that are on, like Dance Moms and things like that. I'm telling you, this will be an amazing reality show where you see a bunch of musicians and artists coming in and working through all that stuff and everything that they're going through, and you mix in some of those personal stories and stuff. It would explode. There's got to be a producer out there that has got this idea in their head to make this, because I love music-based documentaries and things like that.
Right.
A reality show with something this caliber, man, with an ever-changing cast of characters. Just, I mean, that'd be.
Well, you check out the pilot, and I've been talking to Drew Barrymore's company some. So it's still, it's still swirling. The whole thing is still swirling around Hollywood. Ain't no telling when. So
manage all those different. So we're talking about Studio 4. I'm going to go back and talk about True Confessions because I still have some remaining questions about that. But since we're here talking about Studio 4, let's go ahead and get some of these questions I had about Studio 4. First off, how many locations for Studio 4 are there right now?
6 in LA, 3 in Wisconsin, 1 in Chicago, and the flagship is here in Minneapolis.
And
Wow.
I heard rumors that there's an Atlanta one coming. Is that true?
Well, you know, there's a lot of details you got to work out. You know, different school districts have different rules and barriers to access. You know, so it takes time. You know, we're still talking with them, but we're partnered up right now with Youth Build in California, and that is an amazing organization who understands and works with young people. You know, I target and I work with young people, a lot of them who have opted out of the traditional education process. You know, they're just not successful in the academia world, and they need what I needed, which is hands-on experiential learning, project-based learning. And so we use whatever creative endeavors or ideals. It doesn't just have to be music. It can be graphic design, photography.
Really?
I got a shop in the school where the kids learn how to make guitars. I got a master craftsman guitar builder. He shows them how to put all the wiring together, do the woodwork, assemble the guitar. Recording engineers, producers. So there's
how much does it cost for a student to come in or somebody to come in and learn? I mean, what is the? I mean, is it
it's
not
free
type of thing? Everything is free.
Yeah, it's a free public education through the charter school movement.
Charter public.
Charter public school, and we're able to reach kids that, you know, a lot of them are coming from, you know, chaotic, you know, families or communities, or they're struggling with different issues, and they really need it. I look at this place as kind of like therapy, you know, certainly for me. But also, you know, for the kids, you know, sometimes a kid just, you know, getting on the Pro Tools program or Fruity Loops or Cubase, and then they're learning how to work that thing, and it's just, you know, brings them to a whole nother existence, you know, and it changes their life. And, you know, you get the kids like, you know, sometimes we'll tear the studio down and just do a deep clean, take all the plugs out. And so you get a kid, they're learning polarity. They're putting the stuff back together. And I've had numerous kids, they go on to become electricians because they found out that they like that. A lot of times young people, they don't even know what they like.
Right.
You know,
until they experience.
Some of them come in there, they think they just want to be the best rapper. You know, and there's like 10 kids that can rap them right out the room.
Wow.
But they end up being the best engineer in the building, you know, or they're the photographer, or, you know, they learn the business, you know, so they learn all about the music. And there's so many different, now there's what I call media occupations. You know, kids learn how to work the radio stations. Now it's all done, you know, electronically. They can send email blast out to different radio stations. They can monitor their email and see if the manager opened up the email, if the program director opened it up. Then they call them up and say, hey, I sent you that email. I see you opened it up. Did you hear the music that we're working on? So we work with different artists, Sounds of Blackness. They're in our space all the time. They rehearse and they're housed here. Paul Peterson, different groups get our kids to help promote their records.
Man, that's fantastic. Yeah, Paul's a good friend of ours, and my brother from another mother, NPG in the house, Damon Dixon, giving you. So my brother TC doing great things. How you doing, NPG in the house? It's just Judy says, what's the name of the school? It's Studio 4. Well, it's
HSRA.
Yeah, HSRA is It stands for High School for Recording Arts. But also the kids in the community know it as Studio 4 because that's where Studio 4 created the High School for Recording Arts.
Right.
So I saw the need, what was happening with the kids. And so that's why I used the studio to create the school.
And you probably got like a lot of different kids that are coming through that have, different types of learning disabilities like you were talking. And one of the things that I just seen on the news recently was that Drake decided to take a break from music for his own mental health, which kind of, and when I heard that yesterday, and I think it was on TMZ or whatever. But I thought about when I was going to talk to you, I was thinking, when you got all these kids that are coming through here as the owner and the founder of this idea, is there something in place for you, how you monitor mental health with some of these kids and how you're kind of keeping an eye on the
counseling,
mental wealth counseling and stuff?
We have a whole wraparound service. We have each student is assigned to an advisor, but also we have social worker, we have therapists. Kids learn about sexual health, healthy eating, we call it healthy choices. So they learn, they're exposed to a family. Really, this place, our mantra with what the 4 goal stands for is family, respect, community, and education.
Wow.
And that's what we stand on. That's our foundation. And so that's part of when kids come here, they learn that family, respect, community, education. So if a kid needs help, we usually find out about it. A lot of our kids deal with homelessness. At some point during the year, we have almost 50% homelessness rate. And we're finding kids places to live, and we're finding them food to eat. We're doing the most.
That's a high number.
Yeah, it really is. It's a big number. A lot of kids. I mean, some of these kids, you wouldn't believe what they go through. I have kids, 15, 16. They're couch hopping. They're staying over their friend's basement or they're doing this. I'm like, where your people at? Oh man, my mom, she left. She moved to Chicago. She went to Denver, and they're like, 15, 16.
Oh man.
Technically they're underage, but in reality, they're an adult. They're out there on their own. So they gotta, we gotta make sure they get somewhere to sleep and get some food to eat. You gotta figure that out before you can even deliver the educational aspect.
Right, because they're not going to receive an education. Like they're not going to mentally, they can't pull that in.
Right, but they know we love them.
Right.
A lot of them come to us. They don't have the coping skills, and so it's like teaching a young person, the etiquette of just being a productive problem solver. Good citizenship. Give something back. Just giving them those words and that understanding of what that means changes their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I look at some of these places that you've been recognized by New York University, Cornell University, Oxford University in England.
Yep.
And you even gave a presentation on the school model at the Oxford University Roundtable.
It was, dude, it was so crazy because this is just me being silly. This is how dumb I am, right? You know what I mean? So I get this nomination thing in the mail, and it says, "You've been nominated to come to Oxford University and present your work and be a fellow of the Oxford Roundtable." And so I didn't, at the time, I got to be honest, I didn't really know what that was.
Right.
And so I showed my sister and some people. They said, yeah, man, and it was all, expense paid. Somebody nominated me and put me in it. And so I'm like, okay. And so they said, you got to go to that, man. You should go to that. So I ended up going over there. So when I get there, they assign me this guy. He's like my advisor. And he's got this long beard, and he's this old frumpy white guy, with a blazer on. And he starts explaining to me. He says, this university is 4 times older than your country. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And so then he's moving me around. So he takes me on a little tour, and then we come back to where it's called the student union, the coffee shop. It's where everyone does the presentations at, right? And so I go in there, and the whole wall is lined up with pictures of Nelson Mandela, Sister Teresa, Desmond Tutu, Malcolm X, just all these phenomenal people, Winston Churchill, President Kennedy, all these people. And then he tells me, so then that's when it finally clicked in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is Oxford University, where this is like Harvard or something, you know what I'm saying? So then he explains to me, he says, now that's the podium where you're going to do your presentation at in a couple of weeks, because we were there for like a session, so we were there for like, I think 3 weeks. As I prepared, I got ready, and I hung out. I got to hang around Oxford, and they took me on tours. He showed me all the X marks on the sidewalk. And so we were walking around, I'm like, what are all these X's for? He says, well, that's where someone got crucified or burned, because that's what they used to do back then, Right. And so burned at the stake, or witches and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, damn, I could, just blowing my mind. And so then when I finally got up there, I did my presentation, and I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And it was just, the time of my life. I came back. I got a childhood buddy that I grew up with, Dr. Crutchfield. He just recently passed away, but he was a research scientist, PhD, and an MD doctor of dermatology. And so he always had all these degrees. He had degrees all in his office, and me and him were like this, right? And so one time, when I came home, I had my degree. It was rolled up in a tube, something like this, stuck in there, and I never took it out. And so I went to his office one time. Me and him were hanging out, and I said, Charles, I got a degree that will trump all your degrees. He said, oh yeah, what is it? I said, I'm an Oxford University roundtable fellow. And he said, yeah, sure, right. And so I said, no, for real. And he said, okay, well, let me see it. Show it to me. So I met him for lunch, and I bought it with me, right? And so when I pull it out and he sees it, he's like, okay. And so we get in the car. He says, come on, get in the car. And he drives me to the place where he gets all his degrees framed.
I was gonna say,
and he gets my Oxford degree framed right there. There it is, right there.
Yes.
So that's my buddy. That's Dr. Crutchfield. He's the one who did it. He was being him. He took me on a trip to Cuba. Yeah. So I mean, this whole thing has just been a dream come true.
That's so awesome.
It's amazing. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I have decided that at some point the next time I'm in Minneapolis, I need to come see that place. I need to come to Studio 4 and check it out.
Definitely. You should come next week.
All right, I'm on the plane.
Hey, we're gonna have the conference here for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're gonna do Wednesday evening at Paisley. In the next 2 days, we're gonna have all kind of deep dives and big thinks all in the school, the studio. It's gonna be a great time.
Look, we have the interview with Maite on Monday. We have Tony M, Scott McCullough, and Robia Scott on Tuesday. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're
Wednesday,
wild.
Thursday.
Jeff.
Hey, it's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be good. Where are you guys at?
Atlanta.
Oh, you're in Atlanta?
ATL, yeah.
Oh, okay. I should know. Yeah, my sister, she lives in Atlanta.
Oh, really? Yep.
Yeah,
Chalnetta?
No, Wanda.
Chalnetta says, she says, it was me, your sister, who nominated you, Goofy.
No.
And now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know.
I knew it was somebody. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what happened. I got a chance to do that. And I have to say I'm glad she popped up on there, because that's the other phenomenal force behind my grace is my family. The Ellises and the Moores. They have supported me through thick and thin. Man, I've been down in the dumps, when I ran into that cocaine thing, and I'm thankful that I made it out. A lot of friends and colleagues didn't, and I did. And so here I am sitting today, and it's all due to the love that I got from family. And that's one of the reasons why family is the first thing in my mantra: family, respect, community, education. So.
Well, there's nothing more beautiful than when you receive your blessings, you pass those on to others.
Yep.
And that's what you've been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's it. That's the power.
All right, so let's shake through some of these questions that have been popping up. So some of these people are asking questions, and I kind of feel bad, because I'm just like, we're not ignoring you. We're just trying to find the right spot. Here's a question. I don't know where it's going to come from, but P Funk asked, TC, was your father the drummer in Prince's father's jazz band?
No, he wasn't.
There you go. That's simple enough answer. Oh, and he also asked about the cover of Atomic Dog you did with Prince.
Atomic Dog? I don't think I did that cover. That was George Clinton record before I got to the business.
I think it may be he was talking about like just covering it. Yeah, maybe it's somebody else. And Web Diva 3000 said, talking about Amp Fiddler, said Amp Fiddler taught Jay Dilla how to program the drum machine when he was in high school. I didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, Amp, like you guys said, Amp Fiddler is another underground low-key player that was major force in the music game. Like she's saying, he put Jay Dilla on, and I've sat on panels with Jay Dilla's mom, and we all know Amp. Amp Fiddler was just a phenomenon out there with with George, and being just taking young cats under his wing and showing us what we had to do, helping us out. And by the way, I know you said something about my singing, but if you look on one of Amp's records, I'm on there doing background.
Uh-oh.
What's the song?
I can't remember what it is. I gotta find it.
I gotta go to Discogs and look it up. And speaking of which, I want to pull this up because I really want to show folks who may not be familiar with the album True Confessions that you did on Paisley Park. Talk about this just a little bit, just to kind of close things out. I'm so glad we got to talk about Studio 4 and HSRA, because man, that is just such a phenomenal thing that you're doing. And before you go, we need to make sure that anybody that's listening, and welcome to you fine folks that have been listening on the Funked Up app. I see you got a lot of people that are listening on the app right now, so you're not getting any visuals. Luckily tonight we don't have a whole bunch of visuals, so that's a good thing for you. But I want to share the page from Discogs on the album True Confessions, because there were some things that, you know, I did not know about this album. Some of the people that had their hands on this album that were involved in some of these songs. Now, even though most of the albums that came out in Paisley Park Records, Prince was like really heavily involved. I can't think of any Paisley Park album that Prince wasn't heavily involved in. And it just didn't seem like there was a bunch of involvement from him other than Miss Thing. And I think there was a question that somebody had asked before regarding Bambi, whether or not, you know, what level of involvement or what he thought about that. And the Bambi rap that you did, Girl of My Dreams, which was actually a sung song. There's a bootleg song, but you rapped. It's basically the same song, but you rapped it. Right. But I'm looking at some of these songs to kind of go from top to bottom. But let's talk about that first. What was Prince's involvement in your? I mean, do you feel like he was detached when he gave this project to you? Did you feel like his presence was there?
Most definitely. I mean,
really?
we were in. I was in and out of the studio with Prince quite a bit. I mean, he was spending a lot of time at Paisley Park. Paisley Park was kind of just really getting launched, and he was working on the movie. You know, he was editing all the time. You know, he called me in the studio to do different like voice stuff, or I don't know if he was using it on different records, but he'd have a list of stuff for me to say. You know, he'd tell me, hey, boom and chocolate mirrors or something, you know, he'd have something he would be telling me to say in the microphone. And then you know, I worked with him on Graffiti Bridge when I redid the True Confession song. Yeah, it was just you know, a time when we got familiar. He was right there when I did Miss Thing video. He hung out with us all day. You know, he stuck with us.
Yeah, it's just like his name is just not. Normally, he puts his name all over everything. He puts a stamp on everything, and it just doesn't seem like his name was really mentioned that much in the credits. But some other things that I love on here, obviously the song Pussycat, that was produced by George Clinton, and also Amp Fiddler was also on keyboards here. You had Levi Caesar Jr. on keyboards, vocals George Clinton, and Malia is also. I mean, this is, and it was written by J.D. Steele as well. This is really, really up. I mean, some of the credits on this album are amazing. For the Record, with Eric Leeds on sax, Levi and you, Buck, which is you and which has got you and George on it again. Amp Fiddler's on there. Clip Payne's on there. Clip Payne, the voice of nobody's got a voice like Clip Payne, hands down. If you ever want anything narrated with a powerful voice, you got to get Clip.
He's the man, and he's a cool brother.
Yeah,
he's so chill, man. He's so down to earth and keeps it real 100. I love him. That he's like a big brother to me.
Yeah, it's been last show I saw, it was me. I went to go with, it was supposed to be George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic's last tour. That was like 3 tours ago, and
You're right.
and I don't remember who I was with, but Clip, it was at the Fox Theater, and Clip Payne came and sat right behind me because he was checking the sound, and nobody knew really who he was, I guess, but he was just sitting in the crowd talking in the microphone right behind me, and it's like literally got chills going down my back. I was like, it's like Clip talking right behind me. It's like amazing. His voice is just one of those iconic, powerful voices. It's such a cool dude.
He's an amazing cat, man. He's all that. Imagine being in Detroit with Clip Payne, Amp Fiddler, George Clinton, Stephen Boyd. All them cats is just swirling around you and hanging out, just having the ball, man. Just loving every minute of it.
You got Levi. Obviously, Levi produced most of this, but you got Alan Leeds, who we've had on the show, which was an amazing show. Some executive producer work on here. You had Be Quick on here. Prince is off and on in some things here. Levi's all over this.
Yeah. Well, Levi was the main producer, the main project manager for it. But he definitely was back and forth consulting with Prince about, what he thought and how everything was going.
It's just shocking to me because when you look at the credits of all the people that had their finger on this album, that it really didn't bust out like I think it probably deserved to. Right. And I think this is, I think this is one of the, Sonetta said, show the note of instructions Prince wrote you.
Okay.
We're gonna
all right.
I'm in my office. I'm in my office right now, but I think she's talking about.
I'm gonna make you a larger screen. We normally do larger screens, but we just kind of want to be more friendly here. But
yeah, there you go. You get the.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can actually see it. Yeah.
So Prince, he wrote that, put it on, gave it to me. He wanted me to say some stuff into the 2-track like that.
Oh my gosh, and why is that not in a frame?
You know what? The original is in the frame.
Oh, the original.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just showing you the one that you can see because it's really kind of it's old and it's faded.
Okay. This is the one you can touch. This is the one you can't.
But Prince, he wrote everything like with he write numbers for words and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. That's Jeremy asked, who is Cecil Womack?
Cecil Womack.
Was that in the credits, Jeremy? Is that where you saw? And Lenny Beeson said it is an underrated album for show enough.
It's funky.
And Phantomus Phanto says, is there any material you recorded with Prince that didn't come out that you thought should have been released? Everybody always says yes.
Yeah, there's some stuff. I had a track that I did called Power Line.
Yep.
And, that ended up in the vault. I thought it was really good. I just got busy. I probably could have got it on there. For the most part, Prince, pretty much gave me my way, with what I was trying to do. But some things just, got, so much stuff was happening. You get sucked into this. I was trying to get the record out at the same time. The Graffiti Bridge was coming out. And then,
Now, was this, hold on a second. Let me see if I can say this. I think I have Power Line.
Oh, you do?
I think I do. Hold on a second. If I do, no, it's I shouldn't have it, but I do. Hold on a second.
Oh,
and somebody asked.
Music. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that you were all under arrest. Yeah, right. Now I want to see all the fly boys on one side of the room and all the fly girls on the other. We're gonna hit you to the power line. Yeah, right. Move, you mother. Your power line. Talk about the way from the bottom to the top.
I think that was it. I can barely remember it. I thought it was more slower and funkier.
Oh, he could have changed it too.
But that was
there was another question we had from P Funk Mean. Is there any talk at all about True Confessions being reissued on vinyl?
Yeah, I should do that. I was thinking about just doing it, reissuing it on iTunes because it ain't even up there. You can't get it. You can't get it. Not iTunes, on
Spotify.
Yeah, iTunes. It's not on iTunes. It's nowhere. You can't find True Confession anywhere. It's rare. I call it's a rarity. And so I was thinking about talking to Warner Brothers and seeing if I can have it and do it myself. just re-release it.
Yeah,
maybe,
man.
maybe put another song or something on there, because it's not on Spotify, iTunes. The only place you can find it is YouTube.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I would. Yeah, I collect vinyl, so
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
I would
So
play that.
yeah.
The CDs. I have your CDs somewhere. It's like a whole massive stack of CDs over there. But yeah, I used to collect all of them. But anything that got released on Paisley Park, I try to make sure that I got picked up. But I think the truth of the matter is, and this has been problematic, I would think, and I don't know if you agree or not, but I just don't feel like anything that ever got released on Paisley Park Records, with the exception of his stuff, really got marketed that well.
Yeah,
I just kind of, I can't think of any Paisley Park artist that came on Paisley Park Records that I feel like got really good exposure or marketing. I mean, you had that affiliation with Prince, and it's, but I just don't feel like it was marketed externally very, very well for any of those.
yeah.
I mean, I could
And
be
great stuff too. Not just There were some good artists, and
Oh yeah.
they could have done a lot. Gotten more
it was,
something.
it was for me, it was a strange time, because I always shared this with Prince. I thought that he could have really influenced hip hop a lot more than he did, but he waited. He held out for a long time. He didn't. He wasn't ready to do it for himself. But I mean, listen to some of his records. Prince could rap his ass off.
Right.
He's a beast, man. Prince could have easily been like on the level of like Uzi Vert or somebody. I mean, the shit Prince was saying. I just heard one of his records where he was rapping, and I was like, dude was incredible. He really could do it. He could do it all. And that was one of the things I told him when I was trying to convince him to put me on. He was like, man, I ain't with that rap stuff. And I said, Prince, you're a virtuoso. What are you talking about?
Right.
You can do it. You can do everything. And then he would tell me, be like, hey man, look, you need to have your people talk to my people, and then da-da-da. And I was like, nah, fuck all that. I said, Prince, I'm talking to you. You're the man who can make the decision right now. And so as time went on, he finally, let me do it. But it was 5 years later. It was quite a bit of time that went by. When I put out this record here.
Oh, he has an album that we don't know about. We might have seen an
This
album.
one here, this is Twin Town Rappers, the Twin City Rap. This came out in I think it was 85.
How many tracks are on that?
It was just 2. It was a single.
Oh, with the single.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And Numero Uno, they re-put this out. They put out a project called let me see this one. This project here called Forecasting the Minneapolis Sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you bought this, they reissued this, and you would get this with it, because basically it kind of tells the story of the Minneapolis Sound. So
what is the one? What is the other one that you were just holding up?
I'm sorry, say again.
Forecasting the group.
The group that you were holding up. Who was that?
Oh, that's just the cover. Them were some some brothers that used to hang out in the Taste, in the Fox Trap, the club where everybody went.
I've heard so many stories about the Fox Trap. So
yeah.
I'm sure we had equivalents to the Fox Trap here in Atlanta for sure, but yeah, there's like many stories.
Yeah. So this is this was the record I did with Miko.
Nice.
The Bad Rap. So
okay,
Miko had put me on with that, but yeah, the Fox Trap was where it all went down. That was that was one of the things that Miko sent me back to Prince on when I was telling Miko stories about when we were young, and I was telling him about how I had took up for Prince back in the day. Prince was at the Fox Trap, and somebody was trying to give him a hard time. They was going to jump on him. I was Golden Glove champ and stuff. So I was, I was kind of tough guy. So anyway, I was like, nah, you ain't doing that. Prince works with my sister and all that. And so Miko was like, next time you see Prince, remind him of that. And I was like, nah, I wasn't trying to bring that up. He's like, dude, I'm telling you, I work with him every day. You gotta go there. You gotta go there with him. And so the next time I was at the Pacific Club downtown Minneapolis, and it was funny because Prince called me over. He was like, TC, come here. And so I went over there, and he was standing there with Hucky and Gilbert. And so he said, man, you got to quit coming up to me every time you see me out in the club with all that rap shit. And I was like, why? He said, because I'm going to have Gilbert or Hucky do something to you. I said, like what? He said, like break your legs or something. I said, yeah, right. So then, me and Gilbert grew up across the alley from each other. So Gilbert was a couple years younger than me. Gilbert was kind of scared of me growing up. You know what I mean? So I was like, Prince, if I ball up my fist, Gilbert will break his porch door down trying to get in the house. And so I shared. And so then I told him, so that's when I came out with, so I remember what Miko told me. I said, Prince, who was taking up for you back in the day when Coles was fixing to kick your ass at the Fox Trap before you had all these bodyguards and shit? And he said, oh, what? Do I owe you? And he started acting like he was going in his pocket. And so I said, no, you don't owe me nothing. I said, just open up the door. I can get it myself. And then he said, well, that was then and this is now. And he walked off. He did the little Prince strut and walked off with his crew. But I already knew I had, I was already working on the bat rap. And so I was coming at him, me and him, we had a, kind of like a back and forth play-hate relationship. So it was all fun,
Did he ever find out that Miko was the one that was giving all the details?
Yeah, why you think he let Levi run the project?
Right.
All right.
Yeah, he gave the whole project to Levi, where Miko was one that really popped it off, but then Miko, he was working on his own thing too. Yeah.
So many stories, man. We could be. This is amazing. All right, I got one more question for you, but it's a loaded one. And then on top of that, and then I want to give people any information that you have that we can for the Studio 4 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you a question, and many people will have no idea what I'm referring to, but you can fill them in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get your masters back from Joey Kareem?
Yeah, I did. I got the master back, but it didn't have no music on it. All it had was my vocals.
Oh.
The
story about Joey Kareem and what was going on there. So
well, after, when I did the record, Minnesota had kind of a music hierarchy going on at the time, and hip hop wasn't even in the mix. Everybody was on the Minneapolis sound thing, and it was going. But I was kind of ahead of my time. I was into the hip hop, and so I went to Joey's studio. That was the same studio where I did the Minnesota rap. And so after I did that, they wanted me to like kind of get in line. They were like, well, man, there's a lot of people who are working in this music business and they're trying to get out, and you're just, kind of jumping ahead of everybody with this rap stuff. And I said, and so, I was kind of aggressive and cocky, and I was like, yeah, that's why they call it hip hop. You, you jump in front, you make the shit happen. You go for it. And so me and him ended up in a strained relationship at the time, and he just basically he took the master. So what I ended up doing, I cut that record off of a instrumental show tape that I had. I had this really good Memorex cassette with no vocals on it. So I took it back to another studio, flipped it on a 2-track, redid the vocals, and pressed it up and put it out. It was like, hey, this is that's how I got started. Couldn't nothing stop me. I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
And then even to this day, we laugh about it. Me and Joey were cool. He lives in Atlanta. He's right down there with you guys, and I've been down there visiting him a few times. Him and John Rivers, they live down there. And so
wow.
I've been to his house and hung out with him. He came up here when I was building the new studio in my present building, and we're all friends.
Man, you're bringing back memories from a lot of people here. Mei Ling Stone Pool came in, was like the fox trap. Everybody knows what the fox trap is.
yeah. She was the little red Corvette, So that was Prince's little song he was talking about. That if you know. So
you're all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah. We go back a long time.
All right. So you're saying Little Red Corvette's about Mei Ling Stone Pool?
Well, that's what Prince told me when I asked him. But he
well,
when I was doing my video, I was asking him different questions about what songs he did, because I always thought he did She's Always in My Hair about my sister Shy. Mm-hmm. I said, did you write that about Chinita? Because she was always giving him shit, you know what I'm saying? Holding him to the fire. And he was like, no. He probably said no because she was standing right there. and so then I asked him, I said, did you write Little Red Corvette? Is that about Mei Ling? Because she was like the little hot mama around, he was dating her here and there, and she was with the boxing champ, Mike Weaver. What was that dude's name? Yeah. And so, him and Prince had bumped into each other, coming through her place or something. And, he was kind of sideways mentioning her about the jockeys and all them cats that was there before him. Mm. Yeah.
Wow.
She's been on the show before. We've talked to her quite a bit. She has Mei Ling has a long story history with her family and just everything that they've done politically and socially for African Americans in Minnesota. I mean, just the story and the history there is just so wide and
it is. That we're a historic community, a historic Black community, kind of like like Black Wall Street, or the story like with the Gap Band. There was an area in the Twin Cities called Rondo, and it was a thriving Black community that was just like, they had everything: drugstore, grocery store, insurance guys, the whole community thrived. And then that was where the Department of Transportation decided put the highway Interstate 94 right through the dead center of that community, which basically really kind of destroyed it. You know, they dug this deep hole, and then they had these bridges that went over. And you know, as time went on, they're doing actually. My sister, she's working on a project about the history of Rondo and how, you know, there was even an alternative highway route that they could have took that was much less populated, and it was basically the same route. It wouldn't have made no difference, but for whatever reason, they dug it right through the Black community.
And
Wow.
the stories that I keep hearing about that, we have our own stories here in Atlanta. Obviously, there was a town, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, Oscarville.
Yes.
Oscarville was a really thriving Black community here. It was just had carpenters and blacksmiths and bricklayers and everything. And it was surrounded by, and it still is, it's in Forsyth County, and they couldn't find any way to get them out. They just wanted them out. So they literally flooded the whole entire town. And
I've heard about that. Yeah.
A lot of it is, so literally, if you're in Atlanta and you go to Lake Lanier,
yes,
underneath Lake Lanier is that your town of Oscarville.
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
You can go into parts of Lake Lanier, and there are still buildings and everything that are at the bottom of Lake Lanier. And it's just, this town is steeped in that. And it's not just prevalent to Atlanta. It's like those types of things happened everywhere.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Well, you know, I heard people still, it's like that lake is haunted or something. People still drowned in there.
That's what they say.
You go there, you're liable to not make it out.
Yeah, I don't like to swim in Lake Lanier too much. There's a lot of ghosts everywhere for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, it has been an absolute honor having you on. Just
absolutely.
To learn about the history of Minnesota and your musical history and all the phenomenal things that you're doing with the High School for Recording Arts and Studio 4. Tell people before you go, where can they find out more information about HSRA, which is High School of Recording Arts? Where can they find more information about it? And how can they support you?
Go to hsra.org. And it'll come up. But then there's a link on that page that will take you to another organization that me and a couple of my partners started. It's called For Learning. And that's the entity that we're using to get our work out to the nation and the world. So, you know, we spread our pedagogy, how we engage with students, how we integrate the recording arts into curriculum, and we try to create academies in schools that maybe they're a traditional school, but they need a different approach to attract and continue to engage students that maybe aren't motivated by the traditional system. So we use the recording arts.
Man, well, I cannot thank you enough for all your support over the years, and obviously it's great to have you on the show, and again, some history, and hear some of the amazing work that you're doing right now.
Yeah. Hey, my sister, she's telling me to show you guys this. It's a hip hop is saving teen lives in Minnesota. The 74million.org. So is that backwards for you guys?
Now it's playing the 74million.org. All right.
Yep, we can see it. The 74million.org.
So it's a cool little piece about what we're doing here at the school, and For Learning, our other sister organization, is really reaching out to try and give kids an opportunity. You know, all of this is really a derivative of my work that I was able to do with Prince, because that work put me in a position to do my life work. And so I'm eternally thankful for that opportunity, and just being raised and growing up in the era that I did and having the family that I did. You know, like I said, I was blessed to be around all that creativity and all that energy.
Man.
Yeah, I told him. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Yes.
It's been an honor having you on here, man, and I hope that we asked you everything that you wanted to answer.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
man.
And if
Yeah,
not, we'll have to have you come back.
I'm hanging around. Hey, if you get a chance, come to Minnesota. Oh, go to if you go to For Learning, you're gonna see Remixed. And the way we did it is like we spell the word remixed, but at the end is capitalized with ED. So it's Remix Education Conference.
Okay.
And so that's what we do. We try to reiterate and remix education and make it work for young people who are trying to find their way.
Yep.
Yep.
Got it.
So check us out.
I think Prince would have been really, really proud of everything that you're doing right now, because definitely speaks to his heart. And man, it's been an honor having you here, man. Oh,
thanks for having me. Hey, wait a minute. I gotta send a shout out to my boy Mark Webster, who put me up on you guys. He was like, man, you gotta get on Funkatopia. And you know, I just gotta let him know that, you know,
we love Mark.
That's my brother.
Yes.
You know, he's been super helpful. He's worked at the school also, you know, helping be an advisor to young people and helping them stay on the right track. So I appreciate that too.
Man, that is awesome. Matter of fact, I did actually save when you held up that picture of that group, he said that's from the book Sight, Sound, Soul. That's where that picture came from, was from that book.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Webster, for those who don't know, he was the one that pretty much spearheaded the symbol that you guys see outside of Paisley Park. He was the one that got that implemented and got that put together. So that, I mean, it's iconic now.
It is.
I mean, now when you go to Paisley Park, everybody gets their picture taken in front of it. And he was also the one that spearheaded the renaming of the highway to Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial.
Yes, sir. Hey, I ride down that highway. I'm gonna get with Mark and we're gonna cruise by the Purple Highway and have a little conversation in the car.
Yeah, he's got some more news coming up too. Matter of fact, I think Mark's coming back on the show on the 24th of October 24th. I have not announced that until just now.
Oh,
so
okay.
It is.
Him again, October 24th. Yeah, it's a busy October here at Funkatopia, and I'm so glad to again have you on board. TC, anytime you want to come back, just let me know.
Hey, thank you guys again. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff, should we get a bumper from him before we go?
Yeah. Would you be willing to do a bumper for us?
A bumper that's like a shout out. Yeah.
Radio station. We have an online radio station. For those that don't know, we have an online app called Funked Up. It plays 24/7 funk music, and we also have another station called Uptown Radio. That's 24/7 Prince music, and both of which are ASCAP licensed, so we do it all legally and whatnot. And we have bumpers throughout. We got stuff from Jelly Bean and everything else. But it would be great if you just said, "This is TC Ellis, and you're listening to Funkatopia," and then you can add in whatever you want, and or you can do a little rap, whatever you want to do.
Hey, now what's up? This is TC Ellis, and I just been on Funkatopia, and I'm all funked up.
Nice. There you go.
Hey, Jeff, that gets a fair.
Funkatopia.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Much love.
Thank you, man.
See you.
All right, we're gonna have to mark that time so I can make sure to pull that out of the edit. But yeah, man. TC Ellis in the house. I that's so weird. I can't get used to being on that side, mainly because my microphone faces this way.
In mine.
And so it kind of looks like I'm looking at you. And if it's switched around, it looks like I'm looking off into the distance. So I don't know why.
Exactly what's happening.
Right in front of the camera. I just can't bring myself to look right into the camera.
No.
I have notes over here, and I don't know. I can. It's all right. It's okay.
No, it's okay. I understand.
That's
okay.
Hopefully you understand that.
It's relax.
That was TC Ellis, David T.C. Ellis, man. man. It was so cool to get him on the show. I got an opportunity to meet him. I want to say it was pre-pandemic. I want to say it was 2019 is when I got to meet him. And yeah, we got to hang out a little bit. We wouldn't really hang out. We just kind of talked a little bit, and that was about it. But not this time around. This time around, we got a lot of time with him, literally over 2 hours worth of history of from Minneapolis and whatnot. And man, that's just,
I love the energy, man. He's just high energy. Like, hey, let's talk. I love it.
oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just like one thing after another. It's yeah, it is. Yeah, it is what it is. It's oh, thank you, Mark. Mark Webster's still in the house. Giving a little great job.
There you go.
All right, thank you. We do actually. We had a couple little news things. All of it's quick, so it's not like going to take a long time. We normally do entertainment news. We used to do it at the beginning, but we moved it to the end so that it's easily just be cut out and kind of takes away the time stamping of this stuff.
Right.
First thing is, it just seems like not too long ago, we were announcing that we were so happy to be able to cross 53,000 followers.
I know.
And now we have crossed 54,000 followers on Facebook alone. I mean, that's not anything. It's just Facebook, 54,000 followers. So it just seems like we just made the announcement of 53 not too long ago. That's insane to me. So I'm very, very happy about that. So thank you so much for everybody's support. I think we have a scroller, don't we? Yeah. So and obviously continue to definitely make sure that you follow us on Facebook. There are so many invites that are out there for people who have regularly come into Facebook and visited and interacted with our post and either left messages or liked something or thumbed up something or whatever, but aren't following us. So please make sure that you check to make sure that you're following us so you can keep up to date, because you're not going to want to miss some of the awesome things that are happening with Funkatopia just in the month of October. Just in October alone. Just in October alone. All right, just to kind of give you an idea of should I do this chronologically or should I save Wednesday for last? Because
I think chronologicals. Well, yeah, I think it's fine.
All right,
I don't know, man.
All right, I'm not going to do it chronologically. I'm going to leave Wednesday out.
Yeah.
For those who joined us a little bit late, let me tell you some of the things that are going on. Actually, let's not do that just yet. There's a couple little things I want to put out. First is, where were you when that alarm went off? That emergency alert went off with your phone? Were you at work or in some kind of awkward place like a bathroom stall or something? Where were you at?
I mean, you could say it was a bathroom stall. I was at an install in a client site, but I will say I was in, let me just say it correctly. I was in Nevada.
How do you incorrectly say that?
Because it's Las Vegas, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to use Las Vegas as my. I was in Las Vegas and I was doing an install for a client, not playing. It was work, but I was up in a closet in a ceiling, mounting stuff.
Okay, that
didn't sound right.
You're not right at all.
What stays in Vegas? What happens in Vegas?
An install for a client in the closet,
mounting stuff.
All right, then. Cindy Poole says she has to leave right now to enjoy her husband. Cindy, hang out for just 1 minute. Because you want to hear this lineup, because there's additions to the lineup that you did not hear.
Yeah, Cindy, that's not because of what I just said, though, right? You didn't just.
Yeah, it's like, well, maybe it intrigued her to go enjoy her husband.
Right.
Hey, mounting, installing, I'm out. But on a funny side note, and I didn't know this until my daughter told me that, Amish folks are not supposed to have technology. They're supposed to like do whatever they possibly can to not have technology. And apparently there's a lot of Amish folks that do not, that hide their phones. they got, and the reason why that came up is because I was in South Carolina and we went to this Amish place and I brought it up and she goes, "Did you know that a bunch of Amish people got busted for having phones?" I was like, "I did not know that."
That's
That is
awesome.
the story. So you're just sitting there riding the wagon with Jeb, and then all of a sudden, and then Jeb has a heart attack. The horse takes off.
Well, I reckon that was a gas bubble.
Oh my word! I thought that was the funniest thing I had heard. It was like, I did not know that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And a bunch of apparently there was even prisons that there's a bunch of prisoners that were hiding phones, and when it went off, like all of them went off like in the walls or
Yeah.
wherever hiding their phones. So like a bunch of people got busted for having phones because this emergency thing overrode everything.
It did.
It overrode silent modes. It overrode everything.
It didn't matter what you thought your phone was going to do.
That was the purpose of it, was you can't have your phone on silent and not know that a nuclear bomb went off down the street.
Yes.
It's just, so that was the whole point of it, was for it to override everything, and people got busted all across the nation. And I think that's hilarious. I
Yeah.
just think
We want to make sure that if you are hiding and we want to find you,
yeah, we're not a part of that system. Though.
chirp.
All right, so I did have a LSU Ole Miss thing that I was going to show, but I didn't. I don't know that I put it up here. But a couple of weeks ago, I don't think that I uploaded it. A couple weeks ago, LSU played Ole Miss,
Right.
and I like to watch things every now and then. And the announcer said something that was so incredibly off the wall and a little bit offensive that I had to laugh. And I rewound it and recorded it because it was just like this borderline, and he said it in the Bible Belt type of thing. I'm gonna play it. Hopefully the volume's loud enough for you to be able to hear what he said, but I'll say it. But here's what he said.
Opportunity to use those sweet feet to potentially get a first down. The coverage was there. They lifted that man up to the sky like he was Jesus, letting them know they're gonna put him on the cross right there.
They lifted the man up like he was Jesus, and they were going to put him on the cross right there. That's what the announcer said on TV during this game. They lifted.
Wow.
I'll play it one more time now that you know what he said. They lifted him up like he was Jesus, and they were going to put him on the cross right there. I'll play it one more time.
Let him know.
Here we go. Play it one more time.
Opportunity to use those sweet feet to potentially get a first down. The coverage was there. They lifted that man up to the sky like he was Jesus, letting them know they're going to put him on the cross right there.
I'm laying in bed. I'm like, what?
Wow.
What did you just say? And then what's even funnier is that his co-anchor that was there his follow-up went, wow.
What? Hey, how do you follow that? That's
It was like, wow, you said that. It was like you said that. Wow.
that just happened. Wow.
All right, that's all that we got for you. So let me go ahead and close it up with telling you what's going on for the rest of October for Funkatopia. And I'm going to save I'm not going to go in chronological order because we got we got something happening this Wednesday, not live. We're going to pre-record it, and then we're going to play it. I'm not sure when. We'll figure it out. Plus, on top of that, I got a little bit of an announcement about the 24th, which I've already kind of divulged. But starting tonight is Monday night. We don't normally do shows on Monday night. We just don't. Not for any other reason. I think originally there was some other conflict, another podcast that was happening on Monday.
Yeah, we're just trying to.
And I didn't do Wednesdays because I think there was another podcast on Wednesday, so we just settled on Tuesdays. We've been here for forever. Next Tuesday, I'm sorry, try it again. Next Monday, I'm sorry, it's a habit now. Next Monday, right here, right where you're at right now, 1 week from today, we are welcoming the one and only Maite right here on the show. Maite will be here. Maite Garcia right here on Monday night. So,
Yes.
I'm going to, I feel like I got to say this for whatever reason, because I seem I posted that she was going to be on, and there are some ignorant folks, because I realized that, let me just say this, since it's going to be a live show. If you plan to come with any negativity, or if you plan to come talk shit,
Don't show up. We're gonna get blocked.
A, don't show up, or B, we're going to kick you out.
I'm gonna kick you out.
I'm just going to kick you out, because we don't do that type of show here. We show love for everybody. And this was Prince's wife that's going to be on the show on Monday. So nothing but I've got nothing mad respect for everything that she's done and everything she's been through. And she's got a story to tell. And she's got some special announcements too. So we got announcements, we got stories, it's going to be an incredible interview. I hope that you're here for this. It's going to be an amazing time. Maite is going to be on the show on Monday. Then we're doing a back-to-back. Then on Tuesday night, which this is Monday, October 16th. On Tuesday night, October 17th, we're going to be doing a Diamonds and Pearls celebration. Going to kind of get a little bit prepped. And we're going to have a little bit of just fun talking about Diamonds and Pearls. We're expecting some other guests as well, but because we haven't locked anything down, don't have confirmation of some stuff. Right now, as it stands, we got Tony M from NPG, Scott McCullough, who did pretty much all of the videos for Diamonds and Pearls, with the exception of just like a couple of them. He's actually the one, he's director, did all the camera work. So he was on the show a few weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And he's going to be coming back on. And we're also going to be talking about his amazing vodka. And Robia Scott, who was Pearl, when Diamond and Pearl, when he had the two ladies, Diamond and Pearl. Robia Scott Pearl is also going to be on there. So we got 3 pretty amazing shows that are going on. Now, I don't think I put a graphic up for the 31st, so I'm going to keep that off. So the 24th, the week after that, there's 2 that I don't have graphics for. The 24th, Mark Webster is going to be coming back on again on the 24th. He's got some updates about the street and everything. So we're going to have a little bit of a free for all, just kind of hang out and just talk. That's also the week of the release of Diamonds and Pearl. So we'll kind of be talking a little bit excitement about that. Just having fun, doing a little bit of free for all. On the 31st, Tuesday, October 31st, we're having a Halloween celebration. But not only are we having a Halloween celebration, because Halloween happens to land on Tuesday, which is pretty cool, but we're also going to be doing the unboxing of Diamonds and Pearls. I bought the Diamonds and Pearls CD box set. So not only will I be doing the celebration for Halloween on Tuesday, October 31st, but we're also going to be doing the unboxing. And going back in time to 2 days from right now, Wednesday. This is not going to be a live interview. It is going to be a short interview. I think we only have like about 15 to 30 minutes with her. We only have about 15 to 30 minutes with her. So we're going to be sitting down and discussing a tour, a new album with Macy Gray. Macy Gray. So this Wednesday, we're doing an interview with Macy Gray. That we'll post it I don't know how we're going to do it, because it won't be a live show. So we'll just pre-record it and we'll post it for all of you to view. We're going to be talking about her. We're going to be talking about her new album called Reset. We're going to be talking about her tour that she's doing, whatever questions that we can kind of come up with. Macy Gray, we're interviewing Wednesday, pre-recorded. I'll post it when we post it. Again, next week on Monday, Maite, then Tony M, Scott McCullough, and Robia Scott on Tuesday. Then Mark Webster again on the 24th, and then the Diamonds and Pearls unboxing and the holiday special on the 31st. So very busy, very, very busy October for Funkatopians. And please support us. Oh my gosh. Because Rodney says he wants a multiple angle unboxing. And so if we're going to be doing multi-angle, I need more cameras. Actually probably could set up my phone. I do actually have a fancy iPhone 15 now, so maybe I can set up one boxing this way. I guess I could probably pull it off with various stuff. But if you support us, I can get more cameras and we can do some more things. Like Jeff Page has like 100 cameras in his possession. And so, but we're not doing the unboxing at his house. I'm doing it here. So it is what it is. But all that being said, I am excited for October. It's going to be very, very busy. I was hoping for a break somewhere, but I don't know where that's going to happen.
Well, it's going to be a one heck of a way to go out to finish to wrap the month up. That's for sure.
But we will tell you how the interview with Macy Gray goes on Wednesday. We'll be doing it Wednesday, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a fantastic time, and we're going to call it a night. I think it's about time to call it a night. Yes, it's a Monday night. No show tomorrow. Ronnie says, going to ask Macy about her rendition of Happy Birthday to Prince during the first celebration in 2000. All right, let me tell you. Any Prince questions are going to come. That's
absolutely.
Yes. So, but yes, I will make sure that we ask about that. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And good night, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. And if you missed it at any point in time, just check it out tomorrow. We'll have it up on Spotify. It'll be on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Apple Music, wherever you listen to podcasts, it'll be up there. So enjoy. We'll talk to you guys soon. Good night. You know what I just realized? We should actually close out, because the audio on that never sounds great whenever I listen to the recordings or whatever. So we should just close out just with the video, the intro video that we do. We just close out with that. I would say that would be.
Well, good night, everybody.
Ding. I'm so glad that didn't happen all night, because this is for this. All right. Good night, everyone. Watch this.